Look, I have been a reporter in Seattle for like 13 years. I spent the first decade of my career essentially as a professional riot coverer. And when you go back to Occupy Seattle, the May Day riots, I mean, the amount of time I've spent in crowds with people who called themselves Antifa, it's hours upon hours upon hours, okay? So I get livid whenever anyone wants to suggest that Antifa is some sort of creation, fear-mongering creation of the right, because you have no idea what you're talking about. So here's part of this clip in the conversation between Whoopi Goldberg and I'll have to see who else it was on The View.
I agree. They're not organized.
No one has found Antifa. We've heard a lot about Antifa.
We're seeing people exploiting this situation after George Floyd's murder to pursue violence, extremist agendas, anarchists like Antifa and other agitators.
Again, there is no person you can point to and say, oh, that person represents Antifa. Every time they see 4 black people, they think it's Antifa.
No, it's to be honest, it's actually largely white organizations.
Well, that's what we said.
There are people online who openly identify as Antifa.
Well, they may, and I'm going to say, I think oftentimes things like Antifa are things that are thought up, ideas that are thought up and pushed and moved.
It's insane. It's insane. Wow. Where do we even begin dissecting that? Whoopi Goldberg says, yeah, people see 4 black people and say it's Antifa. No, I immediately think of scrawny white people wearing all black with like pink hair when I think of Antifa. Thinking of black people doesn't even begin to come to my mind. So she has no idea what she's talking about. But also, for her to say nobody's been able to find Antifa, where do you expect to find them? Like I was saying earlier on the show, what would convince you that Antifa is a real movement, is a real thing? Would they have to register as a political action committee? Would they have to have a downtown Seattle office building that says Antifa on it? These are anarchists, right? And so their point is sort of no structure, no structural leadership, or they wouldn't have a central spokesperson. They are anti-structure. The other thing that bothers me about Antifa is I will invariably get the response from Seattle Sounders fans who have used the kind of Antifa symbol, who it stands for anti-fascist. And they're like, why do you hate Antifa? It stands for anti-fascist. Are you a fascist? First of all, yes, it stands for anti-fascist, but Antifa has been co-opted by a small group of individuals who want to wreak chaos and violence. And we've seen that going back from the Occupy Seattle days into the May Day riots and into the summer of 2020. They identify themselves as Antifa. And so the idea that they're hiding behind this name, which they say is anti-fascism, and then they use that to say, well, if you're against Antifa, then you must love fascism, is just the way that they try to get people to not criticize them. And for Whoopi Goldberg to say, no one's ever been able to find Antifa. And there's this constant argument about, is Antifa an idea or is it actually an organization? I would say it's a mix of both. No, it's not a structural organization. And yes, it is an idea and a concept that is shared by a group of people that turns that ideology into action. And oftentimes it's violent action. I've seen it firsthand. I've been the victim of it firsthand. So when someone like Whoopi Goldberg says Antifa doesn't exist, I take that personally. And to me, there actually should be some sort of recognition, federal designation for Antifa. Even if you're not a patch-wearing member where you have something that says Antifa, if you're carrying out acts of violence and criminal acts under the umbrella of Antifa, and that's how you're identifying yourself and your movement, because they do, then I think there should be some sort of federal criminal code associated with that. So it's just absolute absurdity to me to continue this narrative. And also, why is the left so obsessed with downplaying Antifa? Why are they so obsessed with downplaying these 20 to 25-year-old white kids, a lot of them born to privilege, who live in their parents' basement and have nothing or no care or concerns in the world, nothing to be actually angered about, nothing they're actually challenged by, and want to go out, cosplay ninja, and go out and break things and disturb things and disrupt things and hurt people and hurt police officers and hurt members of the press? Why is Whoopi Goldberg wasting her breath trying to paint them as a figment of America's imagination. It's very strange to me. In the same way, I would never spend my time or my energy downplaying January 6th or downplaying the summer of love in 2020. It is crazy to me how hyper-partisans will spend time and energy downplaying political violence if it's carried out in pursuit of a cause that they feel like is justified. Whoopi Goldberg, she needs to be gone from The View. Isn't this like, wasn't the anti-Semitism enough?